My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and, well, we're not even going to pretend. It's Legends Week, and, well, we've got a legend.
Here we are.
We've got a legend. Joe!
Hey!
It's Mama Joe, everybody. So how the devil have you been?
I have been blooming wonderful, thank you.
We'll get to the Bloomin Barra in a minute. Queen of Spice, Mama Joe.
The missing spice girl. Yeah.
First of all, how is the spice trade?
The spices, they be grand. Yes.
Well, they do be grand. They do be very grand.
Is it flowing?
It is all going really well. Yeah. Always.
Spice must flow.
Do you have a giant worm now? Sorry, I'm making very
June references.
June references. Which is one of your father's favourite games.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I don't know if everybody saw tonight on Twitter, but you know the one and only Robert Harper was talking about. He was making his dinner with some Mama Joe's spices. So again, highly recommended.
Yes.
I do. Robert is one of my guinea pigs that I send random stuff to, and he's
very fond of it. Yes.
Yeah, so that's really kind of him.
He's very fond of being a test kitchen.
He sits in a corner going.
It is now.
No, it is. Hi, Emma.
Queen of the accents.
I mentioned Emma last week, and I mention her again this week. She had guinea pigs, and they would fucking wake us up when we were like trying to sleep.
I'm worried about the level of guinea pig impression you can do. I mean,
yeah.
Queen of the accents is one thing, but guinea pig impressions?
No, guinea pig like whisperer. Oh,
skill. Like you should
know what that's called.
that.
I don't know how that comes across on podcast, to be honest with you.
I can understand why the South Americans killed them and ate them.
And might I say they are delicious.
There we go.
Why am I not surprised that you know that?
It is called koi, C-U-Y, and it tastes a little like duck.
Ooh. Of all the people who I expect to know that, Joe, you are probably top of that list.
Next week on Masterchef, we take the contestants to a pet store where they get to pick out their new furry friend until George reveals the mystery box.
What noise does it make?
What does the guinea pig say?
Anyway, of everything else, I actually know there are a couple of people who are vegetarians and real animal lovers who are listening tonight, right as we're talking about slaughtering guinea pigs. Well done. So
we've got a lot in common with guinea pigs. They have the same diet.
Moving on. So the team challenge last week.
Yes.
Because it was last week, and it does feel like a lifetime ago.
It feels like
the State Library of Victoria
became the scene of the Disney's latest movie.
Oh, but it was weird. Like, a couple of things were weird. First of all, the contestants walked in there suggesting that they were going to get a Nigella book reading. What fucking episode of MasterChef involves a chef reading their cookbook for the entirety of the show?
Most of the chefs I know can't read, so, I don't know about that.
No, they get the audio books.
Well, I mean, we know this from talking to people on Bake Off, is that they've got to write their recipes down for their bake after they've done it. I mean, you probably have to do the same for MasterChef.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of contestants who frequently just went, nah. And so someone had to sit there and work it out because they
I had to translate Aldo's into English for him.
Oh, God. Hi, Aldo. We love you, but...
I love it to have gone through Google Translate.
I'm sorry for anyone trying to make those recipes, but I did my best, okay?
It's not a bad effort. So they thought they were getting a book reading. Then they were told they were getting some menus from past royal visits.
Oh.
Which was a thing. And then we got, again...
Maleficent Nigella.
I don't know what...
Fly, my pretties!
Fly! If you've seen Schitt's Creek, it reminded me of the crows scene where Mom was flapping her wings about pretties and flying. So
it was so
haven't seen
weird.
Schitt's Creek, you need to, so you can understand that reference.
You do need to see it. But it was so weird.
They were very excited to be around books. Like, I think just shows you how excited people can be in libraries.
How good's a book?
How awesome is it to be here surrounded by books? It's fantastic.
Beautiful library, though. Like, I actually didn't even know that place existed. So good on Tourism Victoria.
Now, Chris has, they're watching it. He goes, oh, you know what? New South Wales State Library's prettier.
I like the Mitchell Library, all right? I spent a year there. Like,
Were you lost?
I wasn't lost. I wasn't imprisoned. I was writing a thesis, okay? So, for God's sake, Joe, seriously. So,
he had to go and do his master's before he was allowed to podcast about Masterchef.
I did 2 other degrees, but my master's was on hold, all right? So, Nicole was just following in my footsteps. Anyway, so what I was surprised about was that Tim was not the captain.
Burn.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were teachers.
Mm-hmm.
There were books. He's an educator. Surely he should have been team captain. He's going to find a way to shoehorn every fucking challenge this year into something personal to his life. Last week was farmers. This week was teachers. What the fuck are they going to do next week? Political commentators? Like, seriously. It's just, they're going to find something.
Sausages.
Sausages.
I've got one between my legs. I understand exactly what it means to have a sausage.
Is that a democracy sausage, though, or is that a whole nother story?
It's a whole other story.
Let us vote on Tim's sausage.
Let's not vote on Tim's sausage. Oh, wow. But no, it's interesting because, like, he seems to be able to shoehorn his way towards any form of leadership, but not this week.
No.
Although he did sort of then come to dominate the mains because, he was cooking lamb. Lamb. It was Tim's lamb.
Was it with peas, mate, or what?
Oh, no. It was... Well, there were peas all over.
There was peas. There was a lot of peas. There was so much peas.
What the fuck is with making peas happen?
I presume when you get the Prince of Wales, he just is a pea bandit.
Probably. Different kind.
Yeah. But does anyone remember the menus?
No, not really.
They were really quick.
What I remember, they did use peas. I do remember they did use peas because we were whinging about the fact that there's some reason this series of MasterChef, we are determined to make peas happen. I can't work it out.
Yeah, they tried to make smashed peas on toast like a thing to get rid of the avocado, and I just want to say to people, please don't. Like, just let it go.
No.
Making it accessible to the youth, to the millennials.
All the youth who can't afford,
Take the peas and fried rice.
Excuse me, it's not a tin of peas, Kristie.
What is it?
It's a bag of Coles frozen peas.
Or surprise peas if you grew up in the 70s.
Oh, no, but these ones here have to be Coles because Curtis Stone and sponsorship. So, therefore, they're all where else but Coles. And as I said, it was quite interesting. A couple of nights before,
all about
the fresh produce from the locals. Suddenly, it's about Coles frozen peas again.
Yeah, but I used to watch an Edgel. I'm pretty sure it was Edgel. Could have been another one.
Probably Edgel.
Commercial where they talk about how freeze when they're frozen. Snap frozen. Just
when they'd snap and they'd all freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what snap frozen means. But unfortunately, because that would be cool.
Precursor to Elsa, though. That's where I reckon Disney got there.
Let's get all Thanos. Anyway, so
peas.
And the other thing
that is what I'd do if I had the Infinity Gauntlet.
Peas.
That's fair gone.
Enough. The other weird thing that they're trying to make happen this year is fucking Bomb Alaska. It's the second Bomb Alaska we've seen.
But we've had 3 layer cakes, so there's...
Well, funny you should say that. Again, it's on the drinking card this week. In place of a parfait, in place of an ice cream, we've got layer cake this week because Anushka can't stop making them. But she managed to not make one here, but we did make a Bomb Alaska, and I don't quite understand why.
I reckon she's doing layer cakes as her audition for Bake Off. She can't be in 2 places at once. So she's
filming it and going, send the film.
Can you just send me some B-roll that I can submit? Now, what have been some highlights for you, Joe, from this past week? What have you enjoyed?
I actually I like watching the team challenges, but when you're actually in them, they're quite scary because... Well, I don't know about this season. They all seem to like each other, but we had a lot of angst, I think, in our team challenges, especially early on, because everyone's trying to stand out as an individual. And so we ended up having a lot of individuals and not really a team vibe. And I don't think they got that till later on. So I think these guys seem to be working really well together.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, they've all worked beautifully towards failing a common goal, and I think that's important.
No, the first week they did really bloody well.
And
the
since
second
then,
week,
they've gone backwards.
The second week, one team just forgot to check if that chicken's done. And, like, I don't know what it is. I'm a chicken whisperer as well as a guinea pig. And I've just learnt that with chicken, like, it might look cooked, but it fucking ain't. So just give it that little bit extra.
Here's the problem. Now, it's going to stun a lot of people out there, but I'm no professional chef.
Really?
I know.
But there is one on this podcast tonight.
There is. So, but
Somni, what have you got to say?
But I'd like to point out that even I could look at that TV and go,
that ain't cooked.
That chicken's raw.
Yeah, it didn't look great, didn't it?
You can see it through the skin.
It was blonder than the majority of female contestants on MasterChef this year.
Hard to beat.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, like the chicken was really, really, really obviously under. And it's one of the rare times when I've seen George do something that looks a bit dickish and gone, no. I'm with him 100%. When George went and they checked it and they went over and checked the other one, then he picked it up and the server's coming out and George is like, you with me now, back to the kitchen. And she's smiling, looking at him like, oh, he's joking. And he's like, back to the kitchen.
Salmonella is not a good look.
Especially not when you've got, 100 Victorian teachers in the room.
Well,
I think, he was quite kind to them, really, like considering.
100%.
If that was Gordon, oh my God.
Think of the flying chicken across the kitchen.
Think of the number of casual
chicken's
teachers.
so raw.
Think of the casual teachers required the next day.
Yeah, right.
Because of the salmonella. A mass salmonella outbreak was caused in MasterChef.
No, in a library.
School
kids are like, I'm not going to a library. You can get salmonella. I'll be sick. See, Mum, I can't go to the library.
It's bad. Libraries are bad.
Yeah, libraries are bad. Speaking of bad, the lamb was cooked to perfection. How's that for a segue? Thank you.
Well done.
That's what I'm here for. So realistically, that team, there were a couple of things. First of all,
maroon and purple. Did you notice?
Steph had.
It was a reference to royalty. Get it?
It was. I know. So Steph had one of those days, and she's talked about it actually online. She's talked about the fact that she suffers anxiety.
Feel you, Steph.
Which, it's a hard environment if you suffer anxiety to then go, well, I'm going to do MasterChef, and I'm going to be captain in a team challenge. I said, sure. And look, she coped okay given the anxiety. She said, I froze and I didn't quite know what to do. But I felt bad for her in that challenge because she kept, as the captain, she took the responsibility of it. But she wasn't stationed on the chicken. There were 3 people on that chicken.
Yeah.
All of whom sent it out.
And she did the right thing because as a captain, it comes
you
back
take
to
it.
Doesn't it? Like you have to take it, and that's what any good captain should do. So, well done, bravo to you, Steph. But the team let her down on that one, I think.
100%. Yeah. And then that was followed up by the bomb Alaska, which bombed spectacularally.
Really put the bomb in it.
They really did. The meringue.
Like Russia had just gone across the ocean, nuked Alaska.
But Sarah Palin can see Russia from her house. So, but the meringue. How the fuck do you screw up the meringue?
Did they over whip it? I think, right?
Grainy. It was
nasty.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Like they're whipping it, and then they're like, "Oh, this is not. We can't. This is not good." And then they had to rush another batch of it, and it just
But it was still good when they sent it out. It was a delight.
But it was okay. It wasn't a delight. They said it was okay, but
they were already. It was a week ago.
But they were
shafted through the election. Anything pre then is a fucking delight to me.
True. But they were shafted. They were already shafted by that main. The second they served raw chicken, they should have just stopped the challenge and sent the teachers out with Macca's vouchers. Because
94811111.
Remembering Pizza Hut.
I think I've got menu log.
Anyone want real chicken? I've got menu log.
Red Rooster, Uber Eats.
Damn.
So that led us to Thursday in the Elimination Challenge.
Mm.
And they brought out, well, one of my personal favourites to watch. It must be a bitch to be in. But they do a couple of variations on this. My favourite variation is when they get you to taste a dish and then pick every ingredient in it.
Yes.
I like that one. That's my favourite.
I've done that for a while.
No, that's my favourite one of those.
Yeah.
This time it was just the name that condiment.
Oh. Yeah.
And I'm here going, well, this looks like it's pretty simple.
Few things disappointed about.
Apparently corn relish is hard to guess.
Where was the Nutella?
Very
Probably
confusing.
there.
Yeah. Where was the Marmite v Vegemite?
Yeah, that would have been interesting, actually, if they had both Marmite and Vegemite on.
Oh, you could totally tell. God, Lord.
Well, you can, but it would have been interesting just to see.
Like, you would have got the cheesy mite straight up. You're like, oh, it's like Vegemite, but there's
disappointing.
paleness in there.
It's like Vegemite, but disappointing. So I was stunned that corn relish was
you could see pieces of
corn.
Like, hello.
And it clearly looked like relish.
And I thought Mandy was gonna like ace this because she got Tom, like that Tom. How have you? Like it's like Tom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
So she got impossible,
but
and
not
then
found on Hoff. Okay.
and then she got up and she goes, I taste it. I know what this is. I know that flavor. I don't even have to worry about it. And then she goes, it's wasabi, and I'm looking, going, it's white, and I'm like, that's clearly horseradish.
Mm.
And
No, was that Steph?
that was.
Oh, that's right.
I think
That was Steph. It was Steph with the horseradish.
Steph did the horseradish. That's right,
Yeah.
because they did the.
It was her anxiety, and like I feel that.
Yeah.
She comes out of my face. It's similar
Yeah, because
to
Mandy
what I mean.
did the corn relish.
Yeah.
That's right. Mandy got the corn relish wrong because she overthought it, and then Jess got overconfident
Yeah.
and picked up the corn relish, and went pickly.
Piccalilli.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Piccadilly.
The answer is not corn relish.
It's on a Monopoly board. It's not in the.
It is 100%. Joe, I'm with you on that.
Is this Regent Street?
So
Waterworks. It's the Waterworks,
and
isn't it?
I'll tell you what, it was the most disappointed I've been in MasterChef since the night before when they kept on confusing Edwardian and Victorian.
Victorian. Oh, yes, I know. They're like, this is like real inspired by Victorian, and it's like you fucking.
It's for Edward, you idiots.
and it,
Victorian era ends when she
1910,
dies.
Yeah, like 1910. Anything after that, you just fucking Edwardian dudes. Like, did you not watch Downton Abbey? Did it not teach us anything? Like, what kind of world are we living in that we don't know?
We're through the looking glass, people.
Oh dear.
But it was one of those. It was one of those weird.
Maisie said, "Oh, look at me serving up a Tudor feast." I don't know. It's a fucking English.
This is from Athelred the Unready's period. My favourite English king.
Wow.
But the funny part was they were serving that up for teachers who could have corrected them.
I'm down
Anyway.
for some Lady Jane Grey. It's like 3-day period. Sorry. Okay, move on.
Anyway, as Kristie becomes an iceberg and stops the whole episode.
You guys talk for a bit. I'll just stand over here and like recuperate my life.
So the condiment challenge goes horribly wrong, and we end up with Mandy, we end up with Steph, and we end up with Jess in the challenge. Now,
is that everyone? Was there 5 people? Were there 5 people?
are there 5? I thought it was only 3. I can't even remember anymore. As you said, it was last week. Oh,
it was only 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, was it 4?
No, it was 5.
It was
5.
5. Who am I missing?
5. Could be was it Trent?
Might have, but we've got to talk about the trend of this series actually.
Yeah.
Because there's 2. Well, there's 2 of them.
trends.
Tati. That's right. Tati's in the.
Oh, that's right.
It was in the challenge. We were all terrified.
And
for
Abby.
Abby. Because Abby tasted it, got it wrong, and then went, I get to cook for Nigella again, and I'm really happy. And I'm like, last time you cooked for Nigella, she told you were terrible.
I will come for you at night time.
Oh, that's so creepy. That Hunters and Collectors. Is that what you're singing?
Yes.
I love that song, but it's creepy.
And
I will kiss you in 4 places.
It's terrifying, like the way she looked at Nigella.
I will squeeze the life right out of you.
Like, I'm starting to think that the way that Nigella came into the house on the first day that the next day Abby came into Nigella's apartment wherever she was staying the exact same way. And Nigella's come down the stairs and Abby's just there going, hello, Nigella.
I've made you breakfast.
It's terrifying.
There's French toast, Italian sausages.
She got very creepy.
French eggs.
They're not French eggs.
French egg. What? Wait, what is a French egg?
I don't know what a French egg now is, but
I'm going to Google this when I'm finished talking because I'm like, yeah, I need to know.
I now need to know what a French egg is. We need to work this out.
Yeah.
But more importantly than
the key ingredient,
all of that, it is kind of a bit of an interesting thing because they're not coping well, and I understand being a bit starstruck, but they're not coping well with anybody famous.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first. We got to think. This is still what are we? Week 3 now. 3, 4. Is it week 4 already?
I've got 4 game cards. It's week 4. That's how I keep track of what week it is. It's the drinking game.
But you know, like they've had. I don't know. It seems like they've had so many great people on, and
this week is non-stop. So,
you know, like it's just going to be crazy. I feel gypped actually that they're getting all these amazing people. I feel like we spent all our money on Gordon in our season, and then we had like just a pile of pennies left and that's it.
Grand people.
You got quality Gordon time where they're getting like.
Well, he did like my buns, so you know.
Yeah, he's only human, but but like I mean, for me,
please tell me that's going to be on your tombstone. Like it's going to here lies Joe Kendry, Gordon Ramsay. I like your buns.
No, it's going to be the video playing on a loop.
And your tree memorial.
Oh dear.
So I've seen it. Because I've been to Rookwood a few times with looking for things with Ancestry, and the shit that's starting to happen is a little creepy. Like just
what we need is a giant like spice container with the Mama Joe's logo on it. Like, no, we're not planning out your funeral or anything, but you know.
I was suggesting dehydrate Joe and grind you down to a fine powder.
Wow. Yeah, and then just hydrate me with some vodka or something.
Yeah.
That's normally what happens though, Joe. Anyway.
Use you as a rub.
By the way, I've already got a Spotify funeral playlist, so it's
sorted.
I like that. What's your number 1 pick?
The first song is Sex Bomb by Tom
Yes!
And it just gets better after that.
Hey, we had a wedding playlist that was every song we could think of that was thoroughly inappropriate for a wedding. Like we went out of our way to find things that were thoroughly wedding inappropriate.
Yeah.
So that was perfect. So back to MasterChef, which is happening apparently. It's allegedly a thing.
Show.
But they're not coping with like the stardom thing. Abby was fangirling over Nigella all week, and it took her until the last day to like focus long enough to cook something well.
Yeah. How are your nerves in the like meeting Gordon? And you were there for Nigella as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, but she came to my thing and I had totally screwed up a recipe that was her recipe. And she went to stick her finger in my bowl and I went, you shouldn't do that. You need to just walk away. And I didn't know what to do. And she goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's terrible. I've messed it up. Please walk away. And so she did. And I never got tasted. So there you go.
You and Huda have very different Nigella stories. Very different.
Yeah. But I never really got starstruck because for me it was just like, it was so amazing, but then you've just got to get onto it. And you're fighting for your life every cook. So you got to remember that.
Well, that was like, I mean, we'll get to it in a minute, but tonight when Rick Stein walked in and Tessa was just like...
He's usually cool, calm and collected.
And I'm like, it's Rick Stein. Like, look, yes, he's
surely she's used to celebrities, being Asha Ketty's.
Being Asha Ketty's sister, yeah. But, I mean, she's...
Wait, is she?
No, she's not. But she looks a hell of a lot like her, so we call her Tessa Ketty.
Yeah.
We presume she's like friends with all of Australian TV royalty.
Must be.
Mates with Lockie Hume.
But it's really, yeah, like...
You know what it could be? She might have that Hugh Hefner kind of infatuation because if he was Hugh and she was a bunny, like it would make sense.
That is the greatest logical pathway we've ever had on this podcast.
Next time Rick Stein's on, Smoking
I'm
jacket.
just saying, yes.
Smoking jacket in a grotto.
Yeah, coming in his pajamas.
Well, a grotto would work for Rick Stein because the seafood would keep fresh. So, anyway,
surely his house is just a grotto.
his house is just a grotto.
Or
Okay, so
bordering on Troy McClure's kind of aquarium.
The elimination challenge. Do we remember what the fuck it was?
It was cooked fish.
No, that was the Rick Stein one. I'm talking about Nigella.
Oh, Nigella.
The spices.
Oh, they had to cook condiments, right?
Yeah, they had to make a condiment. That's
right. With something.
Well done, Joe, because I was sitting there going, I know what it was, because it was such a look. I'm not going to lie. Nigella week was bland.
Yeah,
Mandy was bland, and I thought make a condiment was ridiculously weird.
She seemed happier on the last night.
She seemed really happy on the masterclass.
Yeah,
like maybe because she knew she was done.
She's like, this is it. I'm outies.
But yeah, the make a condiment thing, and unfortunately for poor Mandy, didn't quite go her way.
Yeah, she made the cabbage to go with the...
She did the cabbage. They went, don't do the cabbage. It won't work with it. She went, yeah, it will.
But she said she'd made it before, right? So
I told her it was good.
I applaud that. And do you know what? Fried cabbage is delicious. Can I just say?
So there was another
cabbage, yum.
There was another example we'll get to a bit later on from tonight where, again, it was a don't do that. And Simon went, I'm doing that. And then he did it. And sure enough, it was bloody horrible. And the judges were like, that's not... And the thing was, it wasn't just the judges. Rick Stein looked at him and went, I wouldn't do that. And Simon's like, I know better than you. And then he seemed like genuinely upset and shocked that it went badly.
Yeah, but this is Simon, who fish run away from. Like, they just sprout legs, instant evolution to run away from.
Dead fish, like, get up and go,
reanimate. Get bright blue eyes.
I'm out of here. Like, when
I'm
they
going
said,
north of the wall.
When they said tonight was a fish and potato challenge,
yeah,
I was terrified because we've seen Simon's attempts at fish so far.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Why do they keep putting him near them? I mean...
Surely the RSPCA stepped in.
Even though they're going, look, it's dead, but we've still got to protect them. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, he should just cook a whole fish and just do what Taddy did and
not... I was about to say.
Yeah.
Well, the other
grab
option...
the white bait.
Well, the other option, was to grab the white bait and just, do something. You don't have to bone and fill it because, I mean, if you can make George correct... in criticising your technique, you've probably done something pretty bad. And like the other day when he had to turn the fish over and George is like, turn it over. He's like, no, I'd rather not. Turn it over. What have you done to the fish? And it's like...
Travesty. Yeah, it was like a bad 80s haircut. It was just...
It really was.
It was the mullet on a salmon.
It really was.
So we need to pay credit to two people. First of all, we need to say a fond farewell to Mandy.
Yeah.
I love Mandy. She seemed so great. Like, I think she had good flavour control.
Yep.
I would love to see more of her cooking.
I felt really bad for Mandy because she had two bad days in a row.
Yeah.
That was it. And that's all it takes. Is she had the bad team challenge and then she had one really bad day in the kitchen, and it just so happened she was wearing black when she had the bad day. And
can happen to anyone. Can happen when you're like, making a condiment. Can happen when you're making a tuile.
I knew you were going there.
Sorry, Joe.
For the record, Joe, it wasn't me.
I do have to ask Joe, eyeing off those fish on the bench, what would you have gone for?
Right now, I would have probably gone for the John Dory.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bugger to fill it, but that's going to, they want you... You got to think what they want to eat. It's not what you want to cook and what you want. You have to now cook for whatever they like. So rice and curry and all that stuff is going to get through because that's what they want to eat. So plus with the John Dory, it's really hard to fill it. So I think if you can do that, people will avoid it. And if you can do it good, then I think you've got a chance. So,
well, on that front with the you've got to cook things they're going to want to eat. Leah, I'm going to skip back. We're going to skip all around. And I've got many things to say about Leah, but we'll come to those. What I want to ask is, if you're sort of aiming for what they want to eat. You've got Rick Stein there. What part of having Rick Stein there makes you think that you're going to do fish that way in the cubes when, like, quite clearly the white bait was playing perfectly to Rick Stein because he loves that sort of stuff. If you really, if they didn't have them there, I was stunned there were no pippies. Because the one thing he just cannot resist is pippies.
But what they showed in the editing, the hint, which was there are hibachi grills available.
And they talked about them.
Why didn't you throw it on that?
And she didn't char like she's doing the skewers and then didn't char the skewers.
I've seen something like that in a lean cuisine. Like
probably.
Yeah, it was a little blonde, wasn't it? So
it was very blonde. But like I was a bit, again, why would you go that route with Rick Stein there? I would have thought maybe, especially if you're like, I really like Rick Stein, maybe you do something a bit more to his flavour and his palate.
Like pasta. Like great pasta would work.
Like great pasta.
Yep.
Like, again, he's fond of good pasta. And I think that would have, a couple of them tried that, although it didn't go well for everyone. Sorry, Jess.
Look, she just needed a good pasta recipe, really.
Speaking of people that have had a bad couple of days, Jess is sort of pinballing around. It's not good.
Makes me sad.
I know, because she's awesome.
We love Jess.
Yeah, but last week was bad.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Joe?
I said we love Jess. Like, I want to see more of her. I'm worried about tomorrow for her.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm worried about everyone because that dessert would be, I reckon, worse than a Darren Purchase tweel.
On a scale of 1 to tweel,
where are we sitting?
I'm at well over tweel, but Claire Smith, like, you wouldn't care, would you? If Claire Smith walks in the room, I would lose my shit if she walked in. Like, that for me would be it, because she is way up there for me. So, like, I'd be really cranking out to make sure I did everything right to stay in, or pump out a dish that she makes. Oh my God, that's amazing!
Like that, and again, it looks so ridiculous. Just from the promo, it looks ridiculously complicated.
I was really fucking happy to see her there because I remember last year going, "Oh my God, why can't they even get Claire Smith on? She's Britain's #1 chef." No. Here she is.
Were you sounding like a grandmother? Or?
Yeah. And next year, why can't they get Linda Carter on and have me there? And she's got nothing to do with
rewriting MasterChef just to make you meet people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got connections.
I mean, like...
Joe.
I'm a nobody.
So we'll go back to the start. So Rick Stein walks in. Tessa Ketty has her meltdown. Now, a couple of people were really interesting in that first challenge. Sandeep.
Yeah.
Who has mastered the art of weaving Indian into everything.
Well, that's what you're good at.
And look, again, I'd like to see him do something a bit different. And he sort of did. He went a little bit Italian. He went a bit controversial dinner is what he did. So he fused cultures together. But,
was a paratha and...
They loved it. They absolutely loved it, which was, well done.
Gary wants to eat.
Yeah. Clever. Like, that was clever. And he was the one who didn't use a protein. And they went, what do you mean you're not using the proteins?
Aren't you going to crowbar in the cuttlefish?
Right? Good on him, though. I thought that was really great that he is smart enough to know just to put out what Gary wants to eat, and then Gary will convince the other judges that it's great. So that's all you've got to do is get him on side.
You free like this, don't you?
You really don't
make yourself a mischief.
Anytime you get shoehorned to make themselves a mischief in.
Yeah.
It was there were a couple of things with this challenge that were a bit bizarre. Like, again, cuttlefish for a start. Larissa. Now, Larissa goes through to the immunity challenge.
Good on her.
And I guarantee you does not have a fucking clue how she got there. And that's not being mean. No, that's not being mean.
Why?
She admitted she didn't know what the fuck to do with the cuttlefish. She's like, I'm making this up.
Well, she worked that shit out.
And apparently she worked it out.
Good on her.
They made cuttlefish sound like it's the most impossible thing to cook.
Is it, Joe?
No, not really. No. Aldo and I cooked it when we did the seafood festival, And he was like, oh, Mama, don't worry. It's okay. It's really easy. Boom, boom, done.
You know, were there a million different techniques? Was he putting pots on top of it to stop it curling?
No, I don't know what the hell he did to it, but it didn't take long. And I was folding 1,000 dumplings and he didn't come and help me. And he was just chatting to people in his downtime.
Oh, I am shocked
and appalled.
That Aldo would socialise.
How dare he?
I am shocked. I've never seen that. There is a reason, by the way, Aldo, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, we are getting you on this podcast, but it's going to be in person because I don't know how we do this down the line.
Press record and let him go.
Well, you need either Hooter or myself to translate.
Exactly, and that's why it's going to be an in-person thing. So, Aldo, we're coming, but we're going to arrange it. So, yeah. No. So they made cuttlefish sound like it was really horrible and really hard to cook and really difficult.
Oh, my God, something just came to my head. Okay, so next time you and Aldo do a pairing up, Joe, you have to call yourselves Aljo.
Oh, we've been hashtagging that for a year.
Okay, I'm really riding that wave.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I think you're the only ones that know it, so don't worry.
Welcome to Last to Know with Kristie. So...
What do you mean he sees dead people?
The other one was bone marrow.
Oh my God, I would have just made that as a snack while I figured out what else to do with the rest.
I was about to say, we've spoken about bone marrow before. And if every time we mention bone marrow, it's like, I'll just make it as a snack while I work everything else out. So
yeah.
It's almost like this episode it was made for you to come on this show because
you know what, like bone marrow, it's in everyone's boxes. If everyone just cooked the marrow and served that on a plate, they've done nothing except put it in the oven. So theoretically, how are you deciding which one of those people's has the better bone marrow? Is it just the placement of the bones, or
did they spell for Nathan? Many bones.
Look, I just think it was Rick Stein going, what am I feeling like for lunch today? Bone marrow.
Now,
let's do this.
Now, which one do I want? And Steph goes, I'm making a pine nut pudding. And he goes, sure, let's try that one.
Pudding.
Now, can I point out, we've mentioned this a few times, Gary is quite aggressive this season and a little bit hyper. And when he was discussing Steph's dish, he was like punching the air, like rapidly when he was talking about it. That's really good marrow. And he's like swinging.
But I was really intrigued by their interaction with Steph initially because they did a good job because her anxiety was obviously climbing. And it was George and Gary, I think.
Yep, George and Gary.
George and Gary came over and she was a bit frazzled and they're like, but what is your dish? And George is like, I'd leave your cafe. And I'm like, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I'm like, is this, like, I'm thinking, oh, this could go one of two ways. And they did a good job in bringing her back.
Because that was what I said. I said to you, I think they've actually done a really good thing here because they also didn't go to her bench with Rick Stein.
Yeah.
So she's stressed. Last week they had the anxiety thing pop up.
Yep.
And again, kudos to Steph for talking about that on social media. Well done.
Yep.
And I think it was really good the way that they didn't treat her easily in terms of just go, we'll give you a pass because you're stressing.
No.
They talked her through it. They asked her some serious questions. They made it very plain, you've got to get something up here because that's not good enough. You've got to have an idea. But they didn't put the added pressure of Rick Stein on her.
Yeah.
And they just let her cook until she'd settled. Then they sent Rick Stein over there.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually really well done.
Yeah.
So it's nice when they do that.
It is. And it's exactly the kind of response you want when you live with anxiety, because I live with anxiety disorder. And, you know, when you're saying I'm anxious, you're not saying feel sorry for me, make my life easy. You're saying the way that you'd normally interact with me is not going to work in this situation. Yep. We need to kind of calm the farm, as Huda would say, and find another way.
Really do, yes.
Just bring out the cows. Let's get Billy and her cows.
Billy and the cows out to come
and do some calming milking.
Calming milking exercise.
Calming.
It's really not easy to calm your farm because you've got 100 cameras in your face. You got producers asking you the most ridiculous questions, and you've then got to try and think of things to do without a recipe.
There's a giant clock behind you, which they only noticed after the first week.
There's a Trent lurking around.
There's someone called Trent lurking in the balcony.
So, good on anyone that, just turns up and cooks under that kind of pressure, because it's not easy at all.
I do have an idea for you, Jo, for next year or this year's auditions. For next year.
Wait, am I auditioning again under a fake name?
Yeah. Just dye your hair red, change your gender, go gender neutral, become a Trent, and you just ninja in.
Trenta.
Trentetta.
There you go, Trentetta.
So that works.
Which leads us into Trent. This year's Trents. There were two. There's now really one. So Blake has been one of the Trents. And then in the library challenge, we worked out why we haven't seen Blake, which is he was the person who was sending out the raw chicken. Going, I'm responsible for it, followed by him sending all out raw chicken and then going, not me.
I think it was his ode to Netta from Eurovision.
Possibly. But the Trent in there is Ben.
It is.
And how a man with such resplendent shirts can be left in the background, I don't quite know.
Yes.
Especially since he's so active on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's stealthing. He's in stealth mode. So
how are you in stealth mode in a Ken Doan-inspired shirt?
But I know he's caught the eye of one of our, I'm not going to mention their name, but one of our friends of the show has definitely taken notice of Ben.
There's a couple of them that have taken notice of Ben. Ben's becoming a bit of a favourite. So
yes. So Ben, if you're single, ready to mingle, ladies, or is there guys too?
Into ladies, into gents, there's both.
So, we can hook you up.
Ben, you've got the Masterchef world is your oyster.
We're starting our own Tinder.
Am I on your client books or what?
Yeah, you can be on Tinder too. It's for the locals.
Tinder's for the locals only. So let's get into the fish challenge. So they had 75 minutes to make fish and chips. Now, what nobody attempted is something that is going to get me so much delight and joy, because I have been waiting to get this story on a fucking podcast forever.
You guys talk. I'll just sit back and...
You just sit back and... Because you unfortunately missed this wonderful event.
What was I doing?
You weren't well.
Oh, that's fucking
You were
right.
really sick.
Oh.
You were deathly ill, and we're like, you two go.
But we did it for 3, so it's fine.
Yeah. We'll make it up for next time. So we did eat for 3. That is true. So Joe and I went for Yum Cha in Miscellaneous City, and while we were there, Joe spotted possibly the greatest dish ever made. I'll let you tell.
Well, it kind of, the Yum Cha place had this menu, and a lot of it you don't even know. You just point.
Yeah, it wasn't in English.
To what you want, and my Mandarin is not that good. I'm a little fluent, but just in the bad words. So you kind of pick by pictures, which is fine. I've done that a lot of times, and then we get to this like holy grail of pictures, and it is the Bloomin Barra. And now if you don't know what that is, then you can just go to my Twitter page, because I have put it up a couple of times.
I'll retweet it as well.
It is a magnificent beast that came out in all its glory, head up.
Well, what was fascinating about it was we saw the picture and we're like, it can't look like that. Cut to 3 minutes later as it goes past our table and to the table behind us. And Joe looks at me and goes, I'm getting a photo of that.
So I did approach, because I'm so shy, I did approach the people that had ordered it. As they were about to duck in, I just said, do you mind not eating that? Just for a minute, I need to take a photo.
They're like, who the fuck are you? Oh my God, it's Joe.
Which I didn't mind, because while Joe did that, I got extra dumplings. So,
oh my God, that's what happened to those other dumplings.
Yeah.
Anyway, they let me take a photo. They were very gracious. We had a small chit chat. And then I let them be, and they polished it off, by the way, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But
and then Joe came back over and regaled me with the full story about how they get the Bloomin' Barra all the time. And
Like, it's a thing.
it's the most impressively weird thing I think I've seen. It's just like a bloomin' onion, but in barramundi form.
I'm only ever eating Barra
In that way. You turn up at a fancy restaurant, it's all prepared for you. You're like, excuse me, I don't see the petals.
You just go to your local fish and chip shop, and it's like fish of the day, barramundi. You're like, is it bloomin'? They're like, no, that's wrong.
What do you mean bloomin'? I'll show you how to do it. Here's a photo. Just follow the photo.
Get a deep fryer. Get to it.
Now, again, we didn't have the Bloomin' Barramundi, so we have no idea how it tastes.
Next time, Gadget. Next time.
Yeah, next time Joe's in Miscellaneous City, we'll have to go back and actually have the damn thing.
Oh, you know it. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't actually know if I want to have it, because if we have it and it's not very good, we've ruined it.
Yeah, true. It could be just legendary and we'll leave it in urban.
We go back and they go, what Bloomin' Barramundi? We've never served Bloomin' Barramundi in our lives. What the hell are you talking about? There was no barramundi.
It's on their secret menu.
Secret menu. You got to ask for it by name. So, speaking of the way that people serve fish well and serve fish poorly, Derek. So,
Poor
look,
Dizza.
I'll give him credit. The outside of his fish looked Instagram worthy. And, like, I was a bit worried when Derek Zoolander suggested that the scales would be held on by oil, because oil is like glue.
But I do like that.
Butter is like glue.
But he got his gun show in tonight by dropping some spoons.
He dropped the spoons, and then he's ladies will pick up the spoons.
Yeah, just look at that deltoid. Watch that tricep just stretch.
But to be fair, like glue, like if it was a clag stick, that's glue. That's going to stick on, but not
butter.
No, butter's
I thought butter has the opposite effect.
I mean, couldn't he have made like a little starchy thing with some potato? Like just do like a little thin.
And I love the way when the judges went to him, but potatoes have liquid in them, and Derek looked at them and went, "What?"
Yeah, like vodka.
Potato in there.
Like it looked crunchy on the outside, but then he kind of forgot the most important part, which is to cook the fucking fish. And
you want to cook Barra well, otherwise it ain't a good sushi fish.
No. So he was.
Well, it's a river fish, isn't it?
Well, you can get salt water and fresh water. It depends, like where they got it from. But yeah, it's not a pleasant fish to eat raw. Definitely, we learnt that from Brendan last year. Do you not learn from how Brendan left?
Well, to be fair, we were all more worried about how Brendan nearly left his hand. So,
Hashtag
victims of Cobram. So
we still love Cobram Estate.
I was stunned they let him onto the estate, in all honesty.
Yeah. How did he go there, Joe?
Was it part of the settlement?
Yeah, Brendan's settlement paid for everything. Now he's getting a dumpling shop. It's all done. That's thank you.
It's like in there. Will this pay up figure do? He goes, yeah, and a guided tour for me and all my friends from Masterchef.
And plastic Cobram bottles for the rest of my life. So
they give him the safety goggles and in the safety bottles.
Oh my God, poor Brendan.
And so the other thing was, before we get into the last part of the judging for tonight, the drinking game this week.
I'm drunk already and it hasn't started.
To livers across the country.
Look, you needed it, really.
Yeah, look, you're going to thank us. You're going to thank us. So this week, just for those who haven't seen it yet, it's on our Instagram at Washing Up Pod. This week it's, I can't believe I'm cooking for blank. This is Legends Week. That's going to happen every night.
Yes.
So prepare. It happened a couple of times with Rick Stein, including literally Tessa said it 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so alone. Then a judge uses the phrase in MasterChef history. Thank you, Matt Preston.
Within 5 minutes.
It took 5 minutes. A dome. We didn't have a dome, but tomorrow night, Claire's dessert.
Yeah, well,
drink. Just have one now. Just get it in.
Start early. Pace yourself.
Now, we might miss out on the layer cake this week, so that might be a miss.
No, you're going to get a layer cake.
But to be fair, we're going to catch up with it in a minute with one.
Every credit sequence, there's a layer cake.
True.
Yeah.
But what we're going to catch up with is that an ingredient is described as beautiful. That brings me to Abby. So, Abby. Now, you had a bit of a rough week last week, of your own making, it must be said. This week, you've started out a little bit better in terms of you're in immunity this week. Not in the bottom, you're in immunity, so well done. But can you please do Australia a favour? And I know it's pre-recorded. Surely you can get them to go back in and take out the word beautiful every 2.5 seconds.
No. Her punishment is to do the fucking challenge. To do the bingo
She has to do the
card.
drinking challenge, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've just replaced the word beautiful from last year where they had nonna. So
Yeah, haven't got a lot of nonna this year, so they've got a lot of beautiful.
So, you know, pick your devil. Like, which one would you rather? I don't know.
Maybe Abby's a big fan of Martin Yan.
Yan can cook.
Look how beautiful this is. So maybe, just maybe that's what it is.
But in the meantime,
But every single time this week,
we need some
she
more of
said something. She finished it with the word beautiful, or started with the word beautiful. When she served her dish tonight, and they went, "What's this?" And she goes, "Why, this is a beautiful." I was like, you didn't need to say that.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah. If you say it, it makes it real, right? So, you know, she's just trying to encourage them to think
This is the winner's dish.
You're beautiful, Muriel.
The garden is in play. Well, not only was the garden in play, but Tati went in and like pulled down half a tree.
Good on her.
Sashi do that.
With a machete.
Yeah.
And then ran back into the kitchen with it.
I have to say, near our place, there's a bit of a like at the back near the bush, there is a place that grows bananas, and they've got a sign up now saying trespassers will be prosecuted, because I reckon there's a lot of people being jumping the fence going for the banana leaves to cook with, or to have boodle fight. Either way,
I'm going with they're just trying to get them to cook with.
Yeah.
So high island population. So yeah, they do like those. So Rick and the judges, as we said before, told Simon that his sauce was wrong. Simon went, "No, I think I can balance these flavours."
hold my beer.
They went back and said to him, "You might want to fix the sauce." He went, "No, I'm right." They tasted it. They told him the sauce was wrong. He walked back to his bench. He looked confused. Yeah. He was upset, but he looked confused. It wasn't like upset that they said it was bad. He was puzzled, looking, going, I don't know what the problem was. Why did nobody warn me of this?
But see, the thing is, and can I just, I'm going to devil's advocate here, because
do it.
They go, we don't like your sauce, it's not great. And then you're left to go back to your bench, but you don't know why it wasn't great. Like, they don't actually tell you it's not great.
However,
you know,
I will devil's advocate the devil's advocate here. They actually kind of did guide him towards it. They told him what the problem was. They're like, that flavour doesn't balance with that. You want something that's a bit different in the profile. And they sort of explained it. And they went, that's going to be a bit too strong for that. That's what we think the problem is. And they actually did something more. And he still went, no. And that's the problem.
And then after devil's advocating, the judges turned around and said, "Not today, Satan."
They did. In one of their many huddles, which is also on the drinking game. Actually, you raised a really good point about the huddles.
Yeah.
So
they're giving us more insight into their thoughts and their decisions, which I like.
They really did listen to the podcast last year where we complained about that. Because,
again, Linda Carter comes on MasterChef because you have a superheroes week. And then you go, let's get Kristie on because she's a massive Linda Carter fan, and her friend Michael, and they won't be nuts at all. And they won't detract from anything. And Linda Carter's got everything to do with MasterChef.
Totes.
So the judging has been a little bit more transparent simply because they're doing the huddles. And they're actually explaining a little bit more about the process, which I like. Now, there's still flaws. I still want a bit more blind judging, but, be that as it may. So what we ended up with in immunity was Larissa from the first challenge. Tati got in there. Abby got in there. And most impressively of all as a rebound, Steph. And so thrilled for Steph because Steph went, everyone else is running around.
Cue the MacGyver music.
In that ridiculous level of brawl over fish, which was weird. Steph just calmly walks around and goes,
Masterchef kitchen.
Absolutely nobody's going for the white bait. Why not? I don't have to do anything to them.
Yeah, totally. Smart girl.
That was so clever.
Yeah.
Look at that delicious white
Well,
bait.
she's just like everyone else has got a pin bone, they've got a scale, they've got a skip. I don't. I just take the white bait and cook it.
Ta-da.
And Rick Stein loves that. Like,
Smart girl.
you give Rick Stein any form of like tapas-y seafood,
He likes to tap
he's
us.
there. That's like 4 of his TV series.
Tap ass.
Rick Stein likes to
Up
tap
late.
ass. Anyway,
Disclaimer,
Yeah.
that's not true, Rick, if you're listening.
no, it's not
No.
true. We love you, Rick.
I don't know.
I hope you're listening. Anyway,
We live near Molly Mookish.
if you are listening, it's
Like
not too far to Mollymook, and we
4
would
hours?
like a meal. So,
Call in. We'll talk to you, Rick. Don't
exactly,
be shy.
100%. You know,
It's
ring
one of
in
the-
live now.
It was one of
Um,
the delights when I was going down to the South Coast for the first time with Chris' family. We're going down on the family holiday. It was really lovely. And his mum's gone, "Oh, Rick Stein's got a restaurant down here." I'm like, why the bloody hell aren't we going there? And, you know, just to make up for it, we were like 50 metres from an oyster shack. So I was able to like console myself.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about it. We were 50 metres from the oyster shack, and the oysters were huge.
Now, only Chris's dad and I eat oysters. So his dad got a dozen and I got 2 dozen.
Nice. Yeah.
They were sensational.
Because you can't just do like a dozen if they're that cheap and that good. It's like I'll have half of those Kilpatrick and the other 12 fresh. And that was great. And I was
Yeah, and then sandwich them up and do like a stack.
yes.
That's next time. Done. Sorted.
Oh.
And what Mama Joe's seasoning would you put on that?
Cajun. How good would Cajun oysters be?
He's a spice wizard, ladies and gentlemen. She's a spice wizard.
Excellent.
So in elimination is Derek for
Yeah.
not cooking fish, Leah for not properly cooking fish, and Jess.
Oh.
She's just having such a bad time of it.
Oh, second elimination in a row. Third.
Yeah, she's bouncing around at the moment.
Oh.
I worry for her in this one. I really do.
Mm.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know what to say. Go, Jess. Like,
I don't know who's going to survive this one. I don't know who's going to go home out of this one. I think I'm interested to see what happens if Leah gets sent home. Not because I necessarily want it, but I want to see if she just does anything but smile.
She looks so happy all the time.
When Rick Stein told her that her meal was shit, she was grinning from ear to ear and going, "Thanks a lot. Thank you."
Yeah, but, you know, if you're a big fan, it's like, oh my God, Rick Stein just told me my meal was shit. I mean, it's no Gordon Ramsay telling you that your fucking your fish is so raw, it's going to go back to the sea. But, you know.
No one can outdo that. No.
But yeah, it was. I don't know. This is a tough one this week. I'm also not convinced that anyone's winning immunity, not because they're not good enough, but I just feel like this week for Legends Week, they're going to give them something ridiculous.
Yeah, if they've got a legend in to do immunity, then I think it's too early in the competition to expect great things. If you've got, you know, Ottolenghi walking in the door and
I think Ottolenghi's doing the team challenge. I've seen him sitting outside, so I assume he's doing the team challenge.
Tomorrow night's Kate's what's the
Yeah, tomorrow night is Claire. And then I don't know who the elimination is.
Yeah.
And then it's Yotam Ottolenghi. And it'll be interesting to see who would you, if you could pick anyone to walk into a challenge for one day that you want. Yep. Okay. Who?
Massimo Bottura.
Thank you. So Massimo, I'm hopeful that he's not one of the people this week. I'm hopeful he's got his own fucking week.
Yeah, I hope he gets.
I think he does.
Yeah.
I think they've got Massimo for a whole week.
That'd be fucking brilliant.
Yeah, you're coming back on for that because just like I am a massive Massimo fanboy, and
I presume it's going to be podcast every night.
Oh,
Did you see Massimo? He stood there.
He dropped the lemon tart, Kristie. He dropped the lemon tart. I would like to see a bit of a crossover with some of the people off Chef's Table. I'd love to see Nancy Silverton.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah, pizza week.
Yeah, like Nancy
Bread week.
Silverton comes out and teaches them how to make proper breads, doughs, all of those bits. That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
They could bring out Jacqueline, the monk, and get them to teach you how to make, kimchi over a couple of decades.
Oh, David Chang. Like if he walked in, I'd lose
well, I mean, he's got a restaurant in Sydney.
And he's been on the show before as well, so it's not like he's new to it. But
bring him out. Bring him out.
Again.
So that would be fun. So there's a lot of options there. I'm interested to see who gets the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
Because it is Legends Week. So hopefully, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that he's got his own show on a different network, well, then you'd probably get Zumbo back in.
No, it's Legends Week.
Yeah, I know, but he's a legend in his own mind.
You know who they get in? They get in John to do a white chocolate velouté because that's a different kind of legend.
Yes. No, we've done that now. White chocolate fucking velouté.
It's a legend.
Can I just say, today on Instagram, Matt Arbe, who runs Gordon Restaurant Ramsay in London, put on his Instagram a crab, almond, and elderflower velouté dish.
Oh.
And it looks stunning, but I'm sure in an immunity, if you had to blind taste that with John white chocolate velouté, it'd be hard to pick who did what.
But there's 2 rounds, so you can always do the first elimination to narrow it down as a For Nathan challenge.
Yes, you've got to do a pass dip across the plate with tomato sauce.
Writing your child or loved one's name.
I can't. I still shake my head when I see that picture or someone talks about it.
See,
And you can only roast one vegetable.
I'm kind of feeling the moment now. I'm feeling a bit now. Would have worked for the condiment challenge, but because of the tomato sauce. But
that's what Mandy should have done.
She should have just
picked up the pickles.
For Nathan. But my problem is that once the MasterChef account starts talking about white chocolate velouté being legendary,
they're trolling themselves.
Has the meme gone?
No.
I've jumped the shark.
Because I would now argue that For Nathan is the white chocolate velouté.
It's like when old people are flossing. It's just
like you have no idea how often on the Washing Up account I get people message the account to simply say to me, "Have you got the For Nathan gif?"
I did that.
You did it the other day. Yeah, but you messaged me and went, "Have you got For Nathan?" Do I have For Nathan? Of course I have it. I just have it saved 3 times on my phone.
I have it on my iPad, but not my phone. And I was having a conversation, and that picture was critical.
It's in 3 different folders on my phone.
Surprised you don't have it fucking tattooed.
Last year, when we were at Book of Mormon and missing MasterChef, I turned on the phone long enough to send the For Nathan picture out. And it was widely received very well.
Yeah, it's either you or Josh, and you're my go-to for, standard.
However, if you want a really good supply of Mama Joe gifts, who you need to go to?
Mama Joe.
Mama Joe. Nobody quite captures Mama Joe gifts like Mama Joe. Nobody. So before we finish up, because this has been spectacular, anything you want to plug? Maybe a spice business.
It's mamajoes.com. There's heaps of different options on there. I've got 4 more that I'm still in testing mode, but there's some good meal kits. So winter's coming up. A lot will be really suitable for slow cookers, etc. And if you're open to it, then I'll send some testers out as well to anyone that makes orders. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
And again,
you too can be a guinea pig and go around going.
I'm going to make the noise again.
Don't we all?
No, it's the
I'm going to wake you up with that.
Thanks for that. We can highly recommend, and again, not just because she's on the other end of this line, but we can actually highly recommend all of the Mama Joe stuff. I don't think we've had one yet where we've gone, that didn't quite work.
It's like, can't have that again.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
it's like we need to get more.
It's like just lie me down and roll myself in it. Just put down in lines. Really clears the sinuses.
Lines of Mama Joe's. Well, I mean, you have been trying to clear your sinuses all weekend with everything chilly.
Oh my God. So yesterday, okay, so just deviating.
Last thing before we finish.
Before we finish up, we went to our local yum cha / Chinese place. And it's good because some actual Chinese people go there. And considering we live in a very white area, it's good. And I'm like, I just want something fucking hot that's just going to blast my face, but also taste good. And we said to this guy, what do you suggest? He goes, a beef and chili oil. And we're like, all right. It comes out this beautiful big pot and it's got this deep brown broth and like dried chilies all through it. And it's just going, Kristie, drink me. And it was divine. I was just in heaven. And it did clear my sinuses for like half an hour.
That's
Right.
important. Like if you were tasting wasabi, that would also do it, but I like your version better.
The bowl of chili oil was
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
So that's been sort of this episode. For those who watched Eurovision now and have seen it, we have our episode this morning with Josh, where he came on and we all debriefed over what the fuck happened there.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but let's face it, the second replay is done now. So,
Yeah, true.
if you don't know that Netherlands won, that's your own damn fault. So everyone's off to Amsterdam, I'm assuming, next year.
Oh, yeah.
And
She's going to have a schmuck and a pancake.
Bongablintz. And so we got that down there. Now, this week, we'll let you know on Twitter. There might be a few adjustments to the podcast this week. We haven't worked that out yet. We'll let you know. But
Yeah.
we do, as of next week, completely go back to our normal Monday, Thursday.
The game ends tomorrow, folks.
Game of Thrones ends.
There will be no spoilers. We're not that kind of dicks.
So, but Game of Thrones ends, so we can go back to Monday night and Thursday night, which, let's face it,
Makes fucking sense.
it paces out the week so much better than Sunday, Tuesday.
I mean, my brain is like
Sunday,
frying trying to remember what happened last Wednesday.
Wednesday and Thursday night's episodes blur. So realistically, you only get the coverage of the Sunday. This way, we get coverage of everything. So thank you again, Joe, for coming on. It is always a pleasure.
Yes.
It is a delight. Until next time, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
And we will catch you all later.
Oh, yeah. Blast my sinuses.